Hello, everybody. Welcome to LLK. That is Knit with Laura and Lola. I'm Laura Nelkin. I'm a knitwear designer based in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes region. And Lola is my super fun alter ego, and she is going to be a very big part of today's log. I'm so excited to jump into it. I know you guys have all probably been a little excited since that pattern dropped last night to see exactly what this Thong-A-Long thing looks like, right? I have a few things to tell you first, so I'm going to make you wait till the middle of this log to get to see that thong. I'm sorry, but a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. First of all, I really want to thank you for all of your birthday wishes last week and all of your support with last week's log. I decided to kind of try a new thing where I didn't edit the log. I just shot it and went for it and then posted it. And I like that format. It's real. And it's not that it's less work for me. I think it just means whatever's happening is from the heart. And I'm not overproducing. And the reality is I kind of suck at video editing anyway. So why even try to do it, you know? So these logs are going to be real. I'm going to try to keep them around 20 minutes-ish, depending on how much I have to talk about. And I'm going to try to edit as little as possible unless I like drop the F-bomb by mistake or something that I think is inappropriate, then I will edit that out. It's most likely with me that it'll be something inappropriate that needs to come out. I'm going to fix Und here. He's bugging me in the back of my head. Someone noticed last week that the plant was growing out of my head, so I moved the plant over. And then I got Und over here, and he clearly had a rough night last night, but I think it's time for Und to wake up and be part of the party a little bit more. So there he goes. That's going to bug me less. I don't have a set stylist either, so I'm just in a corner of my office that works out well for lighting and having a shelf on my cube wall for my stuff I want to show you. So welcome. Hello. So I want to tell you a few things first. One, I have a class coming out with Blueprint. It was supposed to come out last week, but since Blueprint lost its ability to ship, they decided to do like a 2-week free trial for anybody who doesn't have a Blueprint subscriptions. Is it a subscription? Yeah. And I'll put the link for that below if you want to check it out. It's great for me if you use my link for that. So since they decided to do this 2-week free thing, they didn't want my class to be launching during that because that doesn't totally make sense for the amount of investment they put into filming a new class with me. So it's going to launch mid-April, supposedly, once they're able to ship again. I think that is their goal, but who knows? I'm not in those offices every day. But anyway, I have 2 patterns coming out for that class, and the kits that shipped last week. Those of you who bought kits need the patterns. So the patterns are up on Ravelry, so you can see the 2 things that we're going to learn in the Blueprint class together. And the patterns are only for sale if you bought a kit. And really what it means is you're ready to go with everything when the class comes out, unless you don't need to watch a video to be able to do those. Then you can jump in anytime. That is totally up to you. So if you have the download code from a kit, then you can download the patterns. I'll post those patterns to Ravelry. It's bead, kerchief, and film. And I will post the actual patterns to Ravelry once the class comes out for people who just want to purchase them on their own and aren't going to be getting a kit or watching the class on Blueprint. So ask any questions if that's confusing. I'm sorry that, things are changing so quickly right now, and we're just rolling with it, right? Rolling. Next up, the first quarter cal has been amazing. I know that we turned out to be staying home a lot towards the beginning of March, and I think we saw a real uptick in people finishing projects that they had started in the KnitAlong. But there ended up being, I have my stats right here if you see my eyes like flicking. We ended up having, Justine is in charge, one of the Ravelry moderators is in charge of stats because I would be horrible at this. And Justine counted that 160 of my patterns were knit in the KnitAlong. There were 467 completed projects, and this is as of Tuesday, March 31st, midday. So these numbers might have changed a little bit by the time that KnitAlong finished. 467 projects finished, 577 projects entered, 81% complete, which is really cool. And I don't think we've ever had that successful knit along. It's been a really fun place to hang out with everybody. And I noticed last night that a few people asked if we could keep that style of knit along thread going. And today in the shower, I had a really good idea, which is where all my ideas happen, showers or hiking. And I need to bounce it by the moderators, and then we'll probably post a new style of knit along that maybe is a little bit less work and rules, because I think that that will flow really well for everybody. I think we're just not done knitting together, and I know there's still 19% of projects that still need to be finished from that knit along. So it seems like a good goal to get those done. There are two main prizes that I have already been announced. They were announced on the 1st, so earlier today in the Ravelry group. I don't know the winners yet. One is this bag. Sorry, I keep all my stuff over here in my cubby. This bag that was made by Joji Locatelli, has a group of bag makers working for her in Buenos Aires. This is called the BA bag, which stands for Buenos Aires. And basically what happens is this strap can detach from right here and attach to this rivet right here. So you can wear the bag on your wrist and put your knitting inside of it. It's made out of this gorgeous olivey green suede. Her bags are not easy to get. They sell out very quickly. This matches the yarn behind me really well. Notice that it's clearly a green thing going on right now. These bags sell it very quickly, and I bought it probably end of January, beginning of February. So everyone who has finished a project in the knit along is eligible to win this, and we'll be drawing a name, and that's posted over in Ravelry. The other prize in that knit along is for the people who did the Fab Four. So the Fab Four was completing a kit, a design of mine from 2019, a hat pattern, and then a knit for charity. And there was a special thread to post your Fab Four. I was really blown away by how many people did more than one or more than three Fab Fours. There's some great entries in there. And all of the people who finished a Fab Four, one of you is going to win a $100 gift certificate to a local yarn store or indie dyer of your choice. So you get to choose where you want that money spent. And I did that because, I mean, all industry is going to change from this social isolation, hunkering down, quarantine, whatever we're calling what's going on right now. There's like a million names for it. But no industry is going to be the same after this. The ripple effects are going to go on for quite a while, and I'm worried about everything, but I'm particularly worried about the yarn industry because, you know, y'all are my people, right? So with this prize, I didn't want to give you something that you didn't want or didn't need, and I wanted to throw support that way, which I hope all of you are finding ways to do with all of the independent designers and yarn makers and LYSs. So you can choose to get a gift certificate to your LYS that you can use when they open back up. Perhaps they have curbside pickup and you know what you want. Some LYSs still have online shipping, so you'll be able to get stuff that way. But you choose what makes sense for you, and then I will help make that happen. Could be a indie yarn dyer maker like Jill Draper Makes Stuff, for example, or Magpie Fibers, or Susan Anderson. I just ordered a bunch of yarn from Susan Anderson the other day. So it's really totally up to you, and I'm excited to see what the winner chooses. That idea I also had in the shower. I had no idea 3 days ago what that final prize was going to be. It was going to be this other thing, and I just decided I didn't feel good about it. It wasn't where I wanted to spend money right now, so I waited. And then the idea came. I'm very clean. That's all I'm going to say. That's where all the ideas go. So there's showers. I'm grabbing my piece of paper so I know what's next. And what's next, you guys are happy to hear, is showing you the thong. Who saw the Thong-A-Long that I released last night? People have been waiting for me to release a beaded thong pattern for a long time. For those of you who are newer to my patterns or like, what is going on with this thong thing? have done a lot of mystery knit-alongs in the past. I haven't done any in a little while, but every time I do a mystery knit-along, they always start out looking like a thong. Like even if I'm trying not to do that, they start out like a thong, and it seems like they could be worn as a thong. So I've been asked forever if I'm going to make a beaded thong, and I decided that now was the time. The Thong-A-Long pattern is a real thong. It is tech edited. It is tested. It actually fits and stays on. If you are somebody who really needs a beaded thong, you could knit this thong. And I'm going to show it to you. I'm wearing it right now. I don't want you to get excited because I am wearing yoga pants. My friend Andrea was concerned that the beads were going to kind of be poking on the yoga pants, but if you wear it over your yoga pants, the beads look fabulous. So I'm going to stand up and I have to back up the camera. So this is like the awkward moment where we back up the camera and then I back up and I show you the beaded thong. Bella explained to me that what is going on with this thong, because it's quite modest in the front of the thong, is that we've got business in the front and we've got a party in the back. You can see my little, I'll cover up the logo. So I'll explain to you the construction of this thong, right? It's actually kind of works if you're someone who wears a thong. Honestly, people, between you and me and the internet who's watching this, I don't wear thongs. But I made you one. I'm taking it off so I can show it to you. This thong is actually it is a version of bead kerchief. So I start out as a top-down shawl. It's like a little mini bead kerchief on the top. It's got beads that are incorporated until the bind off. And then you've got I-cord beaded straps worked on each side. And then what I call the crotch strap in the pattern is a reversible I-cord. And I believe the pattern says something super classy like, work the reversible 6-stitch or 12-stitch I-cord until you get past your private parts and then switch to the beaded I-cord. Pretty classy, right? So basically then you have beads coming up the back, but I waited because I don't know, it just seemed like not so neat. I've shared that I'm doing this with a few friends this week and with my tech editor, Kate Atherley, and there have been a lot of jokes going around. One friend suggested perhaps I knit one in brown mohair. And I was like, I don't think beads and mohair go very well together. And no, I'm not going to do that. Kate had some major snickering around some of the language in the pattern. There was one point where she was like, can we change the stitch count to 69? This seems like an opportunity lost right here. And we couldn't, so we didn't, but was kind of funny in the moment. Trying to think of what else. The pattern is up on Ravelry, and I'm actually going to take the pattern down as of tonight. It's kind of like a treat, but since it's not serious and it's going to become my body of work, I'm not going to quite have it up there to download. So if you want it, get it while you can, because then it's going to go away. Okay. But I hope you enjoy, and it was just my little present from me to you to find some humor and some joy in this crazy, crazy time we are living in. I think humor is one of the things that's getting me through, and I hope you're finding moments of it as well. There, I got all serious again. I'm gonna come in so you can see it a little more closely, see all those beads, because I'm not sure about photos of this. But right, I used a bead mix. I used Miyuki beads. All of this I go over in the blueprint class, like in depth. I talk about choosing beads and looking for beads and all that jazz. So you have a lot coming your way, which is pretty exciting. Next up, I want to talk to you about like what I'm reading, what I'm knitting, what I'm sewing, what I'm wearing, because you probably are wondering about that, what I'm watching, what I'm listening to. So I'm going to kind of slam through all those things. First thing, what I'm knitting. I've not been knitting a lot lately. I've actually knitting less than I've knit in a long, long time. But what I am knitting is a cowl version of bead kerchief, because I got a few emails when people saw the kit go up on Etsy asking me it's kind of being like, are you going to do a cowl version? I wear cowls more than I wear shawlettes. And I was like, that is a really easy thing. I can actually take the same pattern and I figured out how to adjust it. So I've just joined into the round and I'm working a cowl version of bee kerchief. In my favorite copper cloud cover color, because this is like my spirit color. I wear this kind of orangey pumpkiny color a lot. It's flattering, don't you think? Um, when that is done, my next project is a tunic based on that tunic I showed you in last week's log, or maybe that was the week before, maybe it was 2 weeks ago log. Um, and I am going to use some Catskill Merino that I got at Rhinebeck. This is the one ply. It's got 125 yards for 2 ounces, so it's like a worsted weight, but it's a single ply, so I'm going to end up working it a little bit densely to keep it from pilling too much. It's so soft and yummy, and I'm really thrilled that I'm finally designing something with Dominique's yarn. I love her yarn, and I've been sitting on this waiting for the right time. The rest of the sweater quantity you can see behind me right there. And the pattern, the design that's in my mind, I'm trying not to tell you too much. It's very hard. Spot on. Pretty excited about it. I'll share more in another log about that. So that's what I'm knitting and going to be knitting. What I'm sewing and why I've not been knitting very much is I've been sewing masks every night and part of every afternoon for some friends that need them. I have some friends, one friend who works at the oncology clinic at Keegan Medical Center, and they needed some masks. So I sewed them 2 batches of masks that they could put filters inside. They actually just finally got some masks that are medical grade masks, which is great because that is what they should have. But my masks are for when they run out of those. Like they're basically, I think, getting one a week. And then when those are done, they'll switch over to mine. And they have a UV light for sterilizing them. They are completely on it. And then I made some for a local business who also needed some masks, and I sent one to my dad. And starting next week, I am going to volunteer up at Cornell. There's a whole like sewing station set up there in Bartles Hall for sewing masks for the hospital, like a sterile sewing environment for sewing masks for surgeries. And they need like 40,000 of them, and I think they're up to 5,000. So I heard they just got industrial machines, which I can crank on because I actually learned how to sew on an industrial machine, and that's gonna be my next week. But I need to focus on some knitting for a tiny bit and a few other things before I go up there and do that. Um, so that's what I'm sewing. No sewing for home right now. Um, Listening, while I've been sewing, I'm listening to Brene Brown's new podcast called Unlocking Us. And I'll leave you guys links for all of this below. If you don't know who Brene Brown is, just Google her and watch her TED Talk on shame and vulnerability. She works with people, helping them understand shame and vulnerability, how they react to that, and how basically they can move forward and write new stories for themselves. And I find her incredibly uplifting and comforting to listen to. She's real people. She laughs, she cries, she curses. She's no holds barred, and I appreciate that she came out with a podcast right at this time. She certainly didn't know that was what was happening when she decided to do a podcast, but she's doing it beautifully. I know some of you have already started listening to her. What I'm watching is crazy embarrassing. I just finished watching Love is Blind on Netflix. It's so horrible, and watch it if you need to escape, but it's not quality by any stretch. I also am really enjoying, there's 2 Project Runway like knockoffs. One is on Netflix and it's called Making the Cut, and then on Amazon there's one called Next in Fashion that is a total, like, it's Tim Gunn and Heidi from Project Runway started their own thing on Amazon, and I'm enjoying watching both of those. They're really fun, and I keep my laptop set up when I'm sewing, so I watch as I sew. The volume's on real loud. I'm looking over to make sure, see what else I'm missing. Oh, reading. I'm reading The Red Tent by Anita Diamant, which I read right after I gave birth to Bella. I think Bella was still like in a baby carriage when I read it and went to my book group at the time for it. And I'm reading it again now with my newer book group that I'm in, and we're going to have a Zoom meeting. And I think it'll be interesting since I'm like heading into what we would call the croning years or whatever you want to call that, like heading towards menopause. I think it's going to, I have a very different perspective on my femininity now than I did in my late 20s. And I'm enjoying reading it again. Have you guys read Red Tent? Do you remember that? It was like the early 2000s when I read it. So I'm kind of circling back to some books that I remember having a strong impact on me, but I don't necessarily remember why they had a strong impact on me. And it's fun to kind of come back to things in that way to see what your perspective is at a later time. Keeping it real, people. So that is, oh, I didn't talk about eating. We've been eating a lot and kind of calling it the COVID 25 at my house because I'm totally eating wheat again and I'm eating dairy again and I'm drinking wine again. Not a ton, but like I cleared those things out to see if it would help my system. Doesn't seem like it made that much of a difference now that I'm back on things. I baked bread this weekend. I made amazing crackers with the, we have a sourdough starter that I bake with, and I'll put the recipe below to these crackers that I make from King Arthur that you use the discard. I have a really hard time throwing out the discard when I have to feed the sourdough baby. So we made crackers and really good sourdough bread that we had last night at dinner, and trying to be really deliberate about food. So like when we defrost something, like how many meals can we get out of it? Really kind of trying to stretch things out. And I think that we've been cooking more than I was. I was just kind of like eating food for a little while there and not so involved in it. That said, I just want to acknowledge the complete privilege that I can have a freezer full of crap to go full pull something to decide what I want to make, because there's a lot of people that don't have the ability to stock up. And I'm aware of that. I've been donating to the food bank of the Southern Tier, which is doing a great job getting food out to people in need and who've lost jobs. And I urge you to be doing that wherever you live. I'm not going to really do a fundraiser for the food bank because I think we should all be putting our energies to our local resources that are doing a great job in our areas, and it doesn't make sense for me to do a fundraiser for you to be donating to my stuff, right? Just know that I am completely aware and on it and doing my best to help make sure. I mean, I can't make sure, but just see if there's ways to help us all get through this. And I really appreciate you watching these. I know I just yammered for a while and then I didn't complete a sentence because it's a hard sentence to complete. I am not going to cry, but thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you watching and chatting with me while I do these. And I'll have more to share with you next Wednesday, and that would be April 8th. And I will have the premiere go up at noon that day for people who can't do evening premieres. I'm going to try and move them around a bit so everybody can try and join in. I know some people have jobs that get in the way, some people have kids that get in the way, who knows? So just trying to cover all of you. Oh, I almost forgot. I was like saying goodbye, checking out. We have to do the giveaway. So at the end of every log, I do a giveaway for a Zoom virtual knitting session with me and our Ravelry moderators. And that's Justine and Lois and Jennifer and Susie. And this Sunday, I can't even figure out what date. So that's 8/7/6. I think it's the 5th. So Sunday the 5th at 4 p.m. Eastern time, we'll do another one of those. And 10 of you will win a chance to join us in. Those of you who win, I'll send you a link for how to get into the Zoom session. I'm getting better and better at it. Wasn't great at it, but I'm getting better at it. And to enter to be a part of that Zoom session, If you could give me an idea for a name for that cowl version of the bead kerchief, that would be great. I have a name in my brain and I'm interested to see if anybody else comes up with the same name I've come up with, or if you have a better name, because I'm not completely sure I love the name I came up with. So you can leave a comment either in the comment thread of the YouTube video once that goes live, not in the chatter thread during the premiere, but like right underneath the video, you can leave comments. You can leave a comment there, and or you can leave a comment with a name idea over in the Ravelry group. I'll set up a thread for the log over in the Ravelry group. So those are the two places you can leave comments. I'll choose 5 people from YouTube, 5 people from Ravelry. There's one person who was supposed to be on last week, and then she ended up having to stay late. She works at a 911 dispatch center, and she had to stay at work late. So she's going to join us this week, or whatever week she's able to get out of work in time to join us. That felt very important. If you leave a comment in YouTube, it's helpful if you leave your Ravelry ID. Otherwise, I just have to tag you in YouTube and hope that you see the comment back from me. So keep an eye out next Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning to see if you were selected as a winner, because I don't necessarily have a way to email you to make sure that you know, okay? I can't wait to think what you should think I should name my cowl, and I do appreciate you watching. And I'm Laura Nelkin, and I will see you next Wednesday. Thank you.